Namaskar to all. Namaskar to all the distinguished speakers and panelists who are joining us online, and to all the participants who are joining us today from India and from different parts of the world. A very pranam and namaskar to everyone. This is a very unique and distinguished moment that we are being joined by eminent speakers like Professor Dr. Nalini Rao, and also with Dr. Sujeet Nayan, who is in himself an eminent archaeologist, and with the Director General Dr. Anantashutosh Dwivedi. I welcome you all to this distinguished session. At the outset of this session, it gives me very immense pleasure and distinguished honor to welcome you all, and also to all those participants who are joining us from everywhere. Please join us at the earliest possible on our YouTube link and our different social media channels. Today's lecture is being jointly organized by Archaeological Survey of India, Bangalore Circle, and Heritage Society, Karnataka Circle. Heritage Society has been committed to different kind of public lecture series, which the Heritage Society has been organizing throughout the year. And this lecture series becomes even special as today is the inaugural session of a year-long lecture series, which will be organized in collaboration with Archaeological Survey of India, Bangalore Circle. The occasion is even more unique as today we are meeting on the National Unity Day, which is a commemoration of the 150th birth anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, the Iron Man of India, who is very famously known as Iron Man of India. And we are all aware that Sardar Patel's vision was, in fact, of national integration, which was not merely political, but it was a civilizational integration in itself. He believed that the strength of India lies in recognizing and preserving the cultural diversity while nurturing a shared sense of historical consciousness. So in this particular context of National Unity Day and celebrating the birth anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, today we are going to have a discussion on the archaeological heritage of Karnataka, on heritage tourism, role of archaeology, architecture, and institutions of Karnataka. On this memorable occasion, it becomes even our collective responsibility as historians, as archaeologists, as scholars, institutions, and citizens, in fact, to protect and interpret our heritage with a more sensitivity, integrity, and inclusiveness. Heritage is not, in fact, simply about monuments and sites. It is all about people, connections with people, landscapes, and knowledge. So a general awareness also becomes extremely important. So in this spirit, Archaeological Survey of India, Bangalore Circle has joined us hands with the Heritage Society to organize a year-long lecture series focusing on themes related to history, heritage, archaeology, heritage conservation, architecture, on multifaceted aspects of history and heritage. Today's lecture is in fact very remarkable, and remarkable also in the sense that we are being joined by a very eminent speaker, Professor Dr. Nalini Rao, who is an eminent art historian and associate professor of world art at Soka University of America. Her scholarship spans Indian and global art traditions with a special emphasis on visual culture, heritage interpretation, and cross-cultural perspectives. She has worked on diverse themes and with rigorous academic research. She has published widely. She has also served in University of Hawaii and University of California. More prominent to this, what makes a unique convergence in today's lecture series is that Dr. Nalini Rao is the daughter of the legendary archaeologist and historian Professor S.R. Rao, who was the first serving superintending archaeologist of Archaeological Survey of India, Bangalore Circle. Professor Rao served as SA in Bangalore Circle between 1975 to 77. The initial 2 years, the formative phase of this particular Bangalore Circle. He was a pioneering figure in Indian archaeology, and also he is widely regarded as the father of Indian marine archaeology, because he was one of the eminent archaeologists who made groundbreaking underwater investigations in Dwarika, in Bet Dwarika in Gujarat. Now itself is a very important, significant archaeological investigations are going on there. Professor Rao has also contributed in Pompohar in Tamil Nadu and the submerged remains of Mahabalipuram. His contributions continues to inspire generations of archaeologists and historians and young scholars like us. So in all of these ways, in many ways, this lecture series and especially this inaugural lecture, it becomes even more important because we have with us in our lecture series Professor Dr. Rao, who stands as a fitting tribute to the contribution that was made by Professor S.R. Rao during his lifetime. So in today's lecture series, along with the theme of the lecture, we will have a brief and some highlights of the contribution of Professor Rao also on heritage tourism and archaeology and contribution in architecture in Karnataka. So without taking much time for today's session, let me invite first Dr. Sujeet Nayan, who is the current superintending archaeologist in the same lineage of superintending archaeologists serving in Karnataka, in Karnataka and Bangalore circle, to deliver welcome address and formally open today's session. Dr. Sujeet Nayan has made immense contribution in the field of archaeology. He has recently conducted excavations in Rajgir, the ancient city of Rajagriha, which was the first capital of Magadh, and he has also conducted multiple excavation in different prominent sites such as in Manipur in northeast and also in Jabalpur, in areas of Magadh. So I invite Professor Dr. Sujeet Nayan, Superintending Archaeologist, Archaeological Survey of India, to kindly deliver the welcome address and formally open today's inaugural session of this particular lecture series. Thank you, sir.
Actually, sound is not audible for me because there is some technical problem, so I couldn't hear the sound of Dr. Azad. So, should we start? Should we welcome or not?
Please welcome, sir. Please welcome.
All
Please
through
welcome,
your records. Why it happened? Can you correct it from there?
Yes,
But
sir.
okay.
Please, sir.
So, good afternoon to all all of you. Yeah. Should I start or not? Azad, Dr. Azad, could you hear? Hello, am I audible or not?
Sir, you are
Yes, sir.
audible, sir.
Dr. Azad,
You are
am I
clearly audible,
or
sir.
not?
Sir, you are audible, sir. Please begin, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So, okay, thank you. Okay. So, once again, I welcome all of you. I'm really very much pleased to see, especially our chief guest, Professor Nalini Rao, ma'am, whom I met first time in very recent days, and he just called me. I would like to donate. A renowned archaeologist, I heard many times, I read many books of Professor S.R. Rao, and she is the daughter of a legendary figure in Archaeological Survey of India, as well as in a world context. So really, it was a thrilling day for me that she herself called me. I would like to donate books, all books, library books, to Bangalore Circle. And it's a great honor for we people, especially Archaeological Survey of India, Bangalore Circle. I would like to focus before introducing Professor Nalini Rao, ma'am. His father was a great historian, archaeologist, especially marine archaeologist, and he acted as superintending archaeologist, first superintending archaeologist of Bangalore Circle, which was started in 1975, and he continued till 1988. Since then, it had been bifurcated in many sub-circles like Hampi Circle, Dharwad Circle, so many. Karnataka has been divided in 3 circles. And I would like to go in very brief and curtail my speech to welcome Professor Nalini on the behalf of Bihar Heritage Society, Dr. Professor Anantashutosh Dwivedi, who is very close to me, very close friend to me, Dr. Azad, Nanda, and my colleague who is here, like Venuraj, Mr. Raghavan, who contributed a lot for this program. And today is auspicious day for me, for Bangalore Circle, because we have started a series in a joint collaboration with the Bihar Heritage Society and Bangalore Circle, Archaeological Survey of India, Ministry of Culture, Government of India. So, on the behalf of ASI, I would like to extend my warm welcome to all listeners, scholars who joined us today. So, in this series, we have started Heritage Tourism, Role of Archaeology, Architecture and Institutions in Karnataka. That is very important subject because I think Karnataka is having a lot of splendid heritage, incredible heritage that is to be discussed, that is to be posted in different aspects to the world, not only in India. So I welcome once again with my folded hand to Professor Nalini Rao. Ma'am, thank you so much. So let us start and please enlighten us with your profound knowledge and your guesses. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Sujeet Nayan, sir. It is now my proud privilege to invite Dr. Nalini Rao, distinguished speaker of our today's session, to deliver keynote lecture on heritage tourism, role of archaeology, architecture, and institutions in Karnataka. Dr. Rao is an eminent art historian and associate professor of world art at Soka University of America. She has done her PhD in art history from University of California, and she has double PhD. The second PhD is in ancient history and archaeology from University of Mysore, India, and she has contributed a lot in different capacities in different universities. She was earlier faculty in University of Hawaii and also curator of Asian art in Amarillo Museum of Arts in Texas. She was also a faculty in University of California, and she has written multiple papers and she has contributed to a lot of publications in several journals worldwide. Her expertise is in the field of art history and world art history. She has also been the committee member in the California Institute of Integral Studies, and she has been a co-editor and editor of several different kind of journals in the field of archaeology and history. She has been in the advisory board on Indian temples, member of Yadunanda Center of Indian Studies. She has been in expert committees to various different kind of chairs and programs being run all over in India and also in USA. So without taking much time, now I would request Dr. Nalini Rao to kindly deliver her session. Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be invited by such eminent people as Dr. Nayan and Dwivedi and Dr. Nanda. Thank you for all your introduction and kind words. It reminds me of a Sanskrit saying, Uttama Atmana Khyata Pitra Khyata Cha Madhyama Adamo Matula Khyata Shashura Kya Adamodhama. If you're great because of your father, you're actually mediocre. If you're great because of your mother, it's demeaning. And the worst kind of fame that one can have is if you're great because of your children. One should be great by oneself, which I'm trying to just contribute and share my thoughts. Thank you all for inviting me. And I do apologize for my intonation of English language since I've been in the United States for a long time. But my love for India and its art and history continues tremendously. Okay. The topic, heritage tourism, is what we have heard a lot from a long time, but it is challenging and it has a very direct bearing on the future of Indian culture. Tourism, as we all know, is the second fastest developing industry in India, next to pilgrim tourism, and has had a tremendous impact on our economy, providing jobs, encouraging opening of hotels, restaurants, broad roads, and contributing to local as well as national economy. So, we now have a culture of tourism, but this culture is tied to a material heritage, tangible culture of monumental architecture, sculpture, textiles, and jewelry. So, this tourism is what everyone comes to in order to visit from abroad to see the Taj, Khajuraho, Jaipur, Orison, Hindu, Buddhist, Hindu, Jain, and Islamic monuments. This is our cultural heritage. Okay. Let me now share a little screen with you. Can you see this? Yes, so this is, we all know that Karnataka has a number of monuments. In fact, it is incredible the variety of monuments it has, whether they are mosques, temples, gateways, early modern, medieval, forts, and palaces. And all these are documents of history and culture. In addition, they are a cultural identity. There are thousands of sites in Karnataka which was sort of amalgamated and assimilated all different influence from all parts of India. Okay. There are hundreds of temples and the forts such as Halebeed and Belur, Aihole, Patatkal and Badami. There's Mysore palaces. There are late Chalukyan temples of Lakundi and Gadak and Gol Gumbaz and the Tipu Sultan's palace, Summer Palace, and so on and so forth. However, it is important to understand that what do heritage tourists want? What do they want to know and understand and experience when they go to visit this monumental architecture, which is magnanimous and a sight of wonder? Do they just want broad roads, big hotels, convenience, big roads where they can buy and shop and have curios and buy things and shop and leave? No, they want something much more. It's not just big hotels. It is a deeper understanding of our culture with insight. They want to experience the social and historical context of these magnanimous temples, the beauty, their beauty. How do we make this aspect successful in Karnataka? How do we make heritage tourism successful in Karnataka? There have been numerous methods that the Archaeological Survey of India, as well as that of Karnataka and state archaeology departments, have been doing. They have excavated numerous places such as Sannati, as you see, the big Buddhist site by Dr. Punacha. They have excavated in Hampi, in other places as Aihole and Markara, and have brought to light numerous sculptures that provide a great insight to our understanding. There have been numerous museums where preservation of artifacts are there, okay, but there are many challenges that the archaeologist also undergoes. He does not have enough adequate budget. There are limited resources. right? And there are 650 sites in Karnataka to maintain. So the third most important way that we can make heritage tourism successful is to offer sufficient information to the public that is authentic with explanations for an educated public. So we need guides, guidebooks, and not merely a description. This is Shiva and this is Vishnu, and you see this, right? India has now an educated public. For example, when we share our understanding with the public, we should be able to say what was the role of architecture and sculpture, okay, in late medieval or in ancient India. How are these educative? Why does the tourist stand in front of them and admire them? Why should Karnataka's religious art be beautiful? Why should art and religion be related? It's related all over the world. It's not just a question of in India. This comparative understanding of Indian art in the context of global art will create interest among the public, right? For example, the educational activity. So heritage tourism is an educational activity. Okay. How is it educational? It broadens our spirit of inquiry, gives an objective understanding of our history, and India has had a deep value for education right from the time of the Upanishads, the Vedas, the Buddhist and Jain philosophies, and later philosophers, great philosophers, and were all from Karnataka. Shankara, Ramanuja, and Madhvacharya, they were all here. And they are the ones who gave us this understanding of cultivation of an individual and cultivation of an individual in front of society, to be humanistic and to be something and become something. Thus, a meaningful portrayal of architecture in relation to its role in society will make the architectural monument come alive. How do we develop this educational aspect of heritage tourism? Let me take the example of Vijayanagar. Okay. Now, we all go to Hampi and we admire the huge palaces that Archaeological Survey has excavated, and the number around Mahanavami Dibba. And we go to all the temple puras and the huge Krishna temple, the Achutraya temple, and others, right? And they have brought to light very insightful understanding. Now, we all know that the temples were patronized by kings, Vijayanagar kings, a mighty empire. But where is the image of the king on the temple? Nowhere. I have gone all over India to study this, and all over India, they are extremely small. As you see this in the Krishna temple, where Krishna Devaraya is represented and small miniature forms on pillars. Okay. Not only that, we also have a king's balance, where the Vijayanagar kings were weighed in gold and silver, and it was donated to the Brahmin, as we see in the Achutraya temple, where the king is donating. Okay. So we find that gifting became a political ideology or Rajadharma. Gifting was an institution that was established, and it was so important that all the gifts that the temples received in the form of land and money, and these lands were leased, and they gave loans to farmers. They provided irrigation facilities, the temples. They were tax-free lands. And the rituals inside the temple, such as feeding the god, and ornamenting the god, the jewelry, the articles needed, such as rice and turmeric and bananas and plantains and sugar and honey, right? All that too led to a tremendous trade around the Vijayanagar capital kingdom and all over South India, wherever great temples were there. And industries came up around the temple, trade grew, economic prosperity was there. There was a great production of philosophy. Even the building of temples was a method so that people can come together in unity. This is the day of unity that we have, right? All types of people from all different classes and tribes of India came. They came to the temple and they offered their respect to the god, right? They learned the values of spirituality. They here had marriages. They offered their dance and music to the gods. And nowhere in the world do we have this way of understanding an institution. This is an institution of the temples, and it still continues to bind the people together in a community. This dynamism of economy, architecture, kingly power, as well as spiritual values, has given tremendous inspiration to every Indian today. And we see that especially when I go abroad, where I have been asked questions, why do Indians go for education so much? It is in our blood, and it is the heritage of our heritage from thousands of years, right? Now let me tell, and therefore, when you coming back to temple urbanism and economy, here in Hampi, we see these long streets, bazaar streets, where foreign accounts of Niccolo Conti and others said where precious and gold and diamonds were sold in the public, right? So here is an deeper understanding of architecture and sculpture that it is important for us, that is known as heritage tourism. Now, let me take another example. I will be brief. Hoysala art, which is extremely famous. They're like ivory boxes, whether in Halebeed or Belur or in the Veeranaran of Gadag, wherever it is, right? And many of them say, oh, it's too elaborate, right? It is too ornamental. But understand that ornament is not a sufficient motive for artists, nor is it a sufficient motive for development of subsequent elaboration of architecture. We find here something inherently compelling and rhythmic, and where sculpture and architecture have fused together. If you see here, we have the recesses and projections. Sculptures come outward and horizontal and vertical and all three-dimensional, along with sculpture. More is beauty in Indian art. It is not like modern art, where minimalism, less and less and less, as we have in some. But for the Indian aesthetics is different. India has a big has theory of aesthetics that has contributed to world aesthetics, right? More is wonder. It is Adbhut Rasta. It is tied to the symbol of the universe and of life, and the architecture as a microcosmic image of the universe, where forms are a symbolic manifestation of ideal heroes and gods, right? And our values. Sculpture and architecture are in a codependent relation here. One does not know where architecture ends and where sculpture begins. Thus, in such a temple environment, the devotee must have been dwarfed by unending forms of life, of symbolic representations in the vegetal world, with values, practices, and institutions all coming together and make Indian culture stronger and stronger and deeper and deeper. In addition, all this was carefully choreographed and understood by artists, by sthapatis, philosophers, religious specialists, by monks and saints and institutions, right? About man's purpose in life, his behavior, and his place in the world and the universe that can benefit society for time immemorial. Now, however, uh, it is not just the Hoysala artists who began. We have a lot of tradition coming from late Chalukyan and others, but I will not go into that because of lack of time. But these are visual traditions. Now, what else can we understand? Why does religious art be beautiful? Why is Shiva in the Ahole temple, Durga temple, in this S form? Right? What is that system of measurement and proportion that he kept alive, like the Egyptians, like the Greeks, or much more than the Greeks here? Why is it that narrative art, the narration of a mythological story, and its exact substantiation with so many arms and so much of power, right? It's there to understand man's place in the world. In fact, Indian art is so intellectual that it is harder to understand than Chinese art, which is more related to nature. So, if you go deeper and deeper, in order to understand our architecture and sculpture, one has to understand its philosophy, one has to understand the society, one has to know its languages, one has to know Sanskrit and literature as well, and music and dance. And this has been reiterated by many scholars, both in the West as well as India. So let me go to one more aspect. Now, it's fine. We know about Vijayanagar and Hoysala, but what else can we understand about our institutions? Now, the temple as an institution was there, but we all go to mutts. We have the Shankar Mutt, Ramanuja Mutt, Madhva Mutt, and we all go and worship this Vrindavana over here. Now, what is this mutt? Why did it gain importance? What is this institution like? Why is the Guru so important? When did he become important? How did he become important? And why was his body kept in this Vrindavana in a Madhva Mutt, a deceased body? And why is it worshipped every day when Hinduism consider the death as pollution? And then you call it Vrindavana, as in the Raghavendra Swami Mutt in Mantralaya, right? So these are some of the inquiries that our institutions that have to be done. This was one of my books that I published with 10 years of research on it. And why are you calling it Vrindavana as such? What does it mean to you? So such a deep understanding of our architecture and our art is important. Archaeologists and historians are doing a lot for historical conservation, but it is dissemination that is important. Above of an objective understanding. We have today a tendency to decry tradition, or we become ultra modern and and with the temptation of comforts, with the temptation of the West, and we do not know how to bring together our ideas of economic development, industrial development, and material wealth to our ancient understanding of a man, his purpose in life. Tradition is a symbol of self-consciousness of a people, of a community who have shared higher values. So heritage tourism displays and substantiates these higher values that man has and man should have forever. So heritage tourism of architecture was an educational tradition. Heritage tourism of sculpture and painting is an educational tradition, and it should be kept alive by all our guidebooks and our social media and all different Instagram and all other public media. Today it has been politicized so much or distorted, and our understanding, right, is different. But who is to blame? Is it the public, the government, professors, archaeological surveys, journalists, schools, archaeology? All are, we have a responsibility today. Heritage tourism must aim to disseminate for future society, for the future of our children, and educating and creating an awareness that transmits the ideals and cultural values of our society. These are heritage sites, right? And that will foster mental and physical discipline. If India has to retain its unique cultural place in the world with its hundreds of monuments, they have to be interpreted objectively and inspiringly and become storytellers today for everyone. And this is what the S.R. Rao Memorial Foundation for Indian Archaeology, Art and Culture, of which I am the chair, has been trying to do from a number of, from many years, as you see here. And he's the one who inspires, who was so inspirational to everyone that it is so important for to disclose and share with the public all that archaeologists do, art historians do, all that historians do, right? As this is the big need that India has. And decolonization of India does not just mean that we take to the West or that we decry the British, but it means that we reinterpret with insight and reinforce, right, objectively, truthfully, our art and our culture, our architecture, and our institutions. Okay. With this short talk, I would like to conclude and take any questions that I will be able, that I hope I will be able to answer. Thank you again for inviting me for this talk.
Thank you so much, madam, for your very insightful.
Should I start question answer, Dr. Azad?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. We have received few questions from the participants also. If you allow, madam, answer, then we can take some of those questions as well.
Sure.
Thank you, madam. We have received one question from Subhakar Mandal. He is asking, how do we promote the awareness about the tourism heritage and world heritage nationwide? We have the also question displaying in the bottom of the screen.
Yes, how do you promote awareness about tourism heritage and world heritage nationwide? Tourism heritage, tourism is about visitors. Tourism heritage, it's about visitors, both Indian as well as foreigners coming to visit. Heritage is about something tangible. It is also about philosophy and language and others, but they're mostly coming to see our monumental architecture, our ancient, and it's how they were made, what does it mean, and what did they substantiate. How do we promote this? Now, this is, as we have gone all over the world in China and Greece and Rome and Southeast Asia, what do they do there? Okay, firstly, apart from keeping them clean and neat, right, and not allowing, for example, hundreds and hundreds to crowd the caves, as in China. They don't allow that, right? And we allow them to crowd in Ajanta and Ellora and those. So, and then we shout there when people are explaining something, right? So this discipline of the people is important. Secondly, right, we do not have good guidebooks, nor do we have good something as in Rick Steves Europe. If you go to Europe, and if I take my cell phone there and I just click Rick Steves Europe, download that app and keep it right into the front end, it is telling me and it goes inside, right? So we do not have that kind of digital way of doing. And I know people do not buy books, especially in India. They don't buy any guidebooks. In fact, I was the first one who wrote on Belur and Shravanabelagola, the guidebooks. That was my aim in India. and good guide services who are trained very well. I was in the tourism department in Karnataka years ago, and we trained the tourists. We gave them lots and talks and made them present, and we evaluated them and how they can be guides, right? So we do not have that service as well. Thirdly, we do not have miniature, so we don't have preservation, good preservation sometimes, right? And sometimes we do, but or through social media. Social media is something too short. It's just like information. Heritage tourism is much more than information. This was made by this king at this time, who did this and who are that. So what is the question? So what is the question? Right? How is it so much linked to people and man, and how of what you're supposed to be doing, right? And why is this art in this way? Why is it represented small? Why is it represented big? Right? The spirit of inquiry should be there and put there as a question. So you raise that creative understanding of art, right? Unfortunately, all our younger generation are engineers and doctors. They're all in the sciences, or they are either in other discipline, and they do not value those disciplines of Indian literature or arts or architecture or archaeology. If you cannot be an engineer, go to history and do something, because you're not. So that is the attitude we are having. There is not much rigor in the humanistic discipline. This is humanities, that is the core of our being. The core of our being is our spiritual being, and our progress, our discipline, right? And our interest in, out of interest, deeper interest. It's not just a question of, oh, I'm so proud, India is so great. You do not even, when students come from here to there, they do not even know much about India. And we have failed in that for last, we don't know why, but we have failed to teach them. Okay? And I hope we can have a group of dedicated people, all with the same aim, and doing something together, concertedly, for our monuments.
Thank you, madam. We have one more question from Arindam Mandal. He is asking, what will be the major initiatives taken by the Archaeological Survey of India to spread the awareness of heritage tourism and heritage culture with the cooperation of Heritage Society? Maybe Dr. Sujeet Nayan may also answer this.
Yeah, I think he'll be a better person to answer, although I know Archaeological Survey of India has done a lot. I think he'll be a better person to answer, although I know Archaeological Survey of India has done a lot.
Actually, a very good question.
I think he'll be a better person to answer, although I know Archaeological Survey of India has done a lot.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
सर बात कर सकते हैं. हेलो, आवाज आ रही है? नहीं, आवाज नहीं.
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Hello, can you hear me, please?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Thank you so much. So, a very good question for us, because initiatives to be taken by the Archaeological Survey of India and Heritage Society. Actually, this is not the only question coordinating with the Heritage Society or any other organization. It's a matter of public archaeology. We have to interact with the local public, local students. Even I would like to say that farmers, they used to plow in the field. Sometimes we are getting a lot of antiquities during their cultivation. And there are so many discoveries. What we know right now, it is only a chance discovery. And farmers' role is also good in this sense, as well as local hawkers. So we have to talk with them, who is working, who is selling their goods nearby the monuments, nearby the sites. So we have to interact with the local people, as well as we have to invite the local students since childhood. If they are reading in childhood, you must call to their monuments, sites, and ask them to serve for half an hour, 1 hour, like Karaseva. So they will have some sort of feelings, touch with the monuments, sites. First, let them feel the sites, because I have already spent more than 35 years in Archaeological Survey of India, and in job I have also spent 30 years almost. And wherever I went, I saw that we used to interact very less to the local people, school, colleges, teachers, NGOs. So we have to coordinate to each other. Heritage societies doing their best for coordinating to all institutions, all professionals, all local people, village people, downtrodden people. So we have to just formulate a group, a heritage group or heritage mitra, what I started in Mizoram. So I would like to inform everyone, or I would like to give some very useful tips that come forward. First, you come forward to save your culture. First, you know the history of India, art, architecture. As I know that Karnataka is very rich, but very less people know about the Melkote temple, rich legacy, Halebedu, Beluru. So it's a mesmerizing architect. You cannot find anywhere in the world, only in Karnataka region, only in Tamil Nadu region, Andhra Pradesh. So India is not only Magadha, not only Koshala, it's also other parts. It's a whole. So we have to think holistic point of view, whether it should be combined, the knowledge, the spectra of the overall ideas, thoughts by the ancient people. So we have to start reading with Veda, Vedanga, Vedant, Upanishad, Ananya Granth, Buddhist literature, Jain literature. So we have a rich legacy. We how to extract them. So we have to extract only to bind each other, to coordinate each other, and work with full of dedication. Because we have to live in that culture. You have to make them live to the people. It is not only to present or showcase your heritage by means of lighting or showcasing everything, but we have to draw attention to them who is not knowing ABCD of culture. They are not aware of their own history, own village. So that is my point. So come together, we can change. We can showcase our Indian heritage to the world context. This is my simple answer. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Dr. Rao, in case if you want to add something or
इनका आवाज दो इसमें सर.
We have another question, madam, from
No,
Chinmoy.
I think
Yes, ma'am.
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you all. And thank you, Dr. Nayan and others.
We have one more question, madam, from
Yes.
Chinmoy Chittaraj.
Mhm.
He's asking, what is heritage tourism and why is it valuable?
Why is it
Valuable.
valuable? Well, heritage tourism is an aspect of tourism. Tourism involves so many things, going and seeing wildlife, right? Enjoyment, going to the beach, to Hawaii, and climbing and hiking to the Himalayas, and so on and so forth, and relaxation and getting away from modern stress. But pilgrimage tourism is about getting some punya and going to Badri or Kedar. And but heritage tourism is about the productions, look, seeing and experiencing the built forms, man-made forms of monuments, which are monumental. Architecture is there to stay. It's an unavoidable art. It stays for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And it is a reflection of the people, of our Indians, our ancestors who created this for the sake of eternity. And they did not just create a portrait of a king or a bad king or a good king who comes and dies and is gone. We created Gandharvas and Apsaras and Shiva and Vishnu, who are a form, an outward form of this cosmic universe. The temple represents the cosmology of the universe with all its planets and the sun and the moon. And for the first time, they did it in ordered geometry and mathematical proportion that is codified in the Shilpa Shastra and as agamas, right? Because maths is perfection, geometry is perfection, and algebra is perfection. And just like proportion, why should I, if I build a temple, be able to see the icon of the god exactly where it should be? How big should the doorway be? How should big the mandapa be? How should the garbhagriha be? Why doesn't a temple ever fall? Because of its foundations. Why is it that the sun's rays falls directly on the icon in the morning sun? What sort of a proportion do they have? We did a lot of research on this, right? And in Karnataka, in Bangalore, has that monument even now, just as the Cholas had, just as there was Moderator and there other sites in Orissa, right? So such an advanced intellectual thinking, right? India is the one that has contributed zero and algebra and geometry to the world. India has the one that has contributed Buddhism and Jainism and Hinduism to the world. And along the Silk Route and the spice routes, it has spread to the whole world. And this is what the West values. The whole world values this. And our concept of peace. Why are we saying about the equanimity that is in the Upanishads, right? So our heritage that you see in visual form, it's called visual culture. It's not art. It's called visual culture. They made art educative, as Plato says in Greece. Make art educative. It's not just about a man and a woman, having fun, and they got married, and somehow someone died and one lived. And it's not that sort of a story of king, one king, two kings, three kings. It's a story that is eternal to man all the time. It is a story where there is no that of Shiva and how he kills the evil. What is so bad? Let us think about it in our lives, right? How much of stress we have, how much of temptations we have, how many times we have fallen down, right? And how can we make ourselves better and more productive, right? So these are the stories that they tell us. And the art is ambiguous, it's not written. If you want to read the written stuff, it's there in our literature, it's there in our shastras, right? But when you tourism is not, the tourist is not going to go and sit and read shastras. hundreds of shastras or hundreds of Puranas or hundreds of texts or literature to understand, right? So when he sees it, he wants to understand. I actually gave some UCLA extension courses there, and you won't believe it, right from 15-year-old to 90-year-old were there in the classroom, and they take the classes before they come to India to see our monuments, our ancient monuments, whether it is Ajanta or whether it is Ellora or whether it is, it is Madurai or in Rameshwaram. And they understand it and they come and see it, right? And this is what we have lost. This is what this eagerness to understand, and this is heritage tourism. Your heritage, that word is a complex word. It is a smaller word from culture. Culture is broad. Yes, we all follow culture. We all go to the temples. We all are wearing saris and jewelry. That is our tradition. Fine. But do you have a deeper understanding? And that is there in architecture and sculpture, right? And that is eternal. And once tradition is lost, it is lost forever. Once heritage is lost, if you don't understand, if it's not kept well, you don't understand your past. We have to, in order to understand our roots and our past, right, in this world, and how intellectually, spiritually, India was so advanced and is still advanced. I'm not saying it was just only advanced. We have that spirit in us for education, for learning, right? But let us not devalue the importance of these sites, right? This makes history alive. Our culture is alive, and our culture is there. It's not just books, right? It is a civilization, right? And it is a civilization that has enormous literature, or philosophy, or rituals, art and architecture. That is made our religious culture alive, all together, right? And nobody, right? And it is important to know what it is, before. And there are many different ways to make this educative for us. Heritage tourism is educative. It transforms you. It changes you. It's supposed to change you. When you go in the temple and you come down, you're supposed to change. It's individual worship. It is not a congregational worship. Why should the Garbhagriha be small? Right? Why should the tower be so high? If you go to Southeast Asian monuments, you will see the difference. You will see what their values are, right? And so the deep meaning that sculpture or symbols have is extremely exciting, and it is memorable. It is memorable, right? And that is the spirit in which, if we give it to society with inspiration, with love, and with concern for their understanding, all we need to do is inspire the public about it, right? And which will make a difference. That inspiration has to be given in the monument, about the monument, in a quiet time, where children are not shouting. It's a serious investigation. It's serious when you go inside. It's serious when you go outside and admire, right? All arts. Art is the climax of religion and art and society, right? It's not just an ordinary person doing something. It's a deep skill, right? And there's an aesthetics that is involved with the figures, with the monuments, with the chiseling, and the space and time, and how they've combined both space and time in its architecture, right? So I think with this, and
you.
younger generation. hopefully we can inspire them. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We are having a lot of questions now coming from our participants. But if you allow me, we can take one or two questions if we move further. So we have another question from Tumon Karnaka. He's asking, what are the major challenges in managing heritage tourism in developing countries like India?
Okay, that's a very good question. India is a developing country, and I see the change every year when I come here, where we have a middle class, a growing middle class that can afford things now. They can afford to travel, right? And it is also an educated public. They are getting educated, and there is a thirst for knowledge, right? So when you say developing countries, the Archaeological Survey, as you know, is the only organization from the government, right, that values the monuments. An archaeologist is not the one who disseminates as much. So you have universities, you have scholars, you have PhD students, you have master students. What if you make all those master students in humanities go and volunteer, like how they do in California about Frank Lloyd Wright buildings? USC master students have to go and take care of the Frank Lloyd Wright buildings over there, right? And they have to go and show the public around. There are docents in the museums, that means who volunteer. Like after we retire, what do? We just sit and talk all the time. But after one retires, you go to the museum, or you go to a library, or you go to school. I will volunteer and try to show them around, and once a week, say once a week, Mondays or Tuesdays or Fridays, and whoever comes, I will just share with them. So this government is not able to afford so much money to pay for, archaeological survey guides, or, so many other things that we need to produce books. The government cannot do everything. And even in other countries that I have seen, for example, in Italy, right, it is not the government that is doing everything, right? It is the public, and it is the museums that produce small artifacts and sell them so that it goes back to the museum, right? And so everyone has to contribute their services, whether as volunteers, master students. Make it an obligation. You will not get your degree till you go and do this. Students of history, students of Sanskrit literature, students of medieval literature, or medieval modern art, whatever it is. You go and volunteer in the local museum, or you go into this monument, or you go to a fort, or you do this and then come back, right? So that is how I remember the way, I have children and grandchildren, they all volunteer in temples, right? Ask them to go and volunteer there, and make them go in order. Please stand and go in order as you visit the temple. Don't shout, don't write, don't dirty, don't do this, right? So this sort has to be enforced by school teachers, college teachers, and it must be a must. Otherwise, you will not get your degree, right? You can pay them, but as you know, everyone has need for money. It's hard. Money is hard to come by. We need it for our food, for our children's education. But if you make this, enforce this, right, and make it as a dignity of labor, make them clean the way through the temple or the fort, and make them clean. There's nothing wrong in it. Make sure they all park carefully and neatly in front. Make sure they go in line and don't crowd and come out quickly. Everyone has to visit. I just went to Ajanta and Ellora and Taj Mahal and Jaipur and everywhere and came back. And I was a little disappointed. This was not the case before. So I think there's a lot.
It's a very interesting suggestion, and this should be implemented in the universities and schools. And probably,
Dr. Azad, any more questions?
There are one or two more questions, sir. There's another question. What systems are in place to monitor vandalism, illegal excavation, or encroachment at the site?
This is for Dr. Nayan to answer.
Yeah, what systems are places? Yes, Right. Actually, very burning issues what we are facing right now. Being a part of Archaeologists of India, Ministry of Culture, really I feel that we are lacking somehow in terms of coordinating with the people. As ma'am spoke just now, role of public is important. Role of archaeology, architecture, institutions, what we have right now, it is not sufficient. We have very limited resources. So what to do? Engage people. As I told you, you come forward. Why allow them to encroach the sites? Local people, there are so many peoples who is residing nearby the sites, archaeological mounts, temples. Why you people allow? Everywhere there is a panchayat, you interact with them. Government has limited resources. I know that. And really, Archaeologists of India is doing their best because I have served many years. And ASI just has given many freedoms to us. Work in the field, interact with the people, interact with the local administrations. So unless and until you people come forward to save your culture, we are only attendant. We have come here to attend you, to do some better, to include something more in terms of fascinating the archaeological sites, providing public amenities for conservation, preservation, and restoration of the sites. But you people have to come forward to prevent them, those who are coming to destroy our rich cultural legacy. I have seen many places. Like I was passing through Mysore Road to Bhoganandeshwar Temple. I saw one site is Managonda Halli, is a very big megalithic site. I have 128-acre land, but now it has been shrunk up to 12 acre. 128 to 12 acre. Because of the land mafia. And administration is sleeping. We are acting as just writing, informing to DC, complaint, FIR, stop notice. But this is not only the way to stop them. We have to engage the local people. Don't allow them. Land mafia. You have to create awareness. Aware them. Local people. They will stop the illegal excavations, illegal encroachments, or unauthorized constructions. So my just call is from all of you listeners, you come forward. You have to inform the local police. You have to stop a such person who is willing to destroy the sanctity of the monuments, sites. So this is my submission, humble submission to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Proceeding further, at the end of this session, may I request Dr. Anantashutosh, Director General, Heritage Society, to kindly deliver a vote of thanks.
ओम मेहि सूर्य सहस्रांशो तेजो रासे जगत्पते अनुकंपे माम भक्त्या गृहानार्घय दिवाकर ओम सूर्याय नमः ओम आदित्याय नमः. Respected panelists and all the participants joining us both in person and through the online platform. As we come to the close of this enriching and thought-provoking lecture on the heritage tourism, role of archaeology, architecture, and institutions in Karnataka. It is my privilege and honor to propose the vote of thanks on the behalf of Archaeological Survey of India, Bangalore Circle, and the Heritage Society, Karnataka Circle. We believe that it is essential for all Indians and people around the world to learn about the rich heritage of Karnataka. Therefore, the Archaeological Survey of India, Bangalore Circle, and Heritage Society Karnataka Circle have jointly launched the lecture series today. At the outset, We express our deepest sense of gratitude to our distinguished speaker, Dr. Nalini Rao, Madam, Associate Professor of World Art at Soka University of America. Dr. Rao's lecture was deeply insightful in its articulation of the interconnections between archaeology, architecture, heritage, institutional frameworks, and the sustainable heritage tourism in Karnataka. Her nuanced perspectives, drawn from both global scholarship and regional understanding, having significantly enriched our appreciation of heritage as a living dynamic resource rather than a static remnant of the past. We are truly grateful to her for sharing her time, expertise, and wisdom with us today. We extend our sincere thanks to Dr. Sujeet Nansa, Superintending Archaeologist, Bangalore Circle, for his warm welcome and for setting the intellectual tone of the program. His leadership and continued commitment towards
Warm welcome
heritage
and
conservation
for setting
and
the intellectual tone of
public
the program.
outreach
His leaders
Public outreach remain a source of inspiration for scholars and professionals alike. We are equally thankful to our Azad Hind Gulshan Nanda ji, postgraduate fellow, Nalanda University,
we are
and
equally thankful
director,
to our
Buddhist Heritage Research Institute of Heritage Society for ably moderating today's
director to
session.
our Bihar
His
Buddhist Heritage Research Institute
thoughtful,
of
his
Heritage Society.
thoughtful interventions and seamless coordinations ensured a smooth flow of idea and enriched engagement between the speaker and the audience. This lecture gains a special significance as part of the National Unity Day celebrations commemorating the 158th birth anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel ji, the Iron Man of India. The theme of heritage tourism resonates deeply with Sardar Patel's vision of national integration, where shared culture heritage serves as a unifying force across regions, languages, and communities. We acknowledge and gratitude the collaborative efforts of the Archaeological Survey of India, Bangalore Circle, and the Heritage Society Karnataka Circle, whose joint initiative has made the academic engagement possible. Our thanks are also due to all the officers, scholars, students, heritage lovers, and members of the public who participated in these lectures and contributed to its success
Love
through their presence and engagements. A special word of appreciation goes to the technical and coordination team who ensured the seamless live broadcast through the Heritage Society YouTube channel, enabling wider outreach and participations beyond physical boundaries. We hope that the ideas and discussions generated today will inspire further research, dialogue, and collaborations actions towards the preservation, interpretation, and responsible promotion of our rich archaeological and architectural heritage. Once again, I thank everyone present, especially Vinu Rajji and the other distinguished officer of the Archaeological Survey of India, Bangalore Circle, for making for making this program meaningful and memorable. Pranam to all. Jai Hind.
Archaeological
Jai
Survey
Dharamar.
of India,
Thank you.
Bangalore Circle, for making this program meaningful.
Thank you, sir. As a moderator of this session, I also convey my sincere thanks to both our chief guest, Dr. Nalini Rao, and also Dr. Sujit Nayan, sir, for this wonderful session. I also thank Professor Dwivedi for his vote of thanks and all the participants who are joining us from different parts of the world. We are still receiving questions from many of them over YouTube, which reflects their interest. I would request all the participants to keep your continued renewed interest in our dialogues and discussions that will be going on along with even in future. So
Ask them to call me. You just give some number, my mobile number. Hello, Azad.
sure, sir.
Could you ask everyone? You share my number. you ask him to contact me, interact with me.
Sure, sir. We will reach out to them, and we will ensure
Hello?
that their questions are answered
Yes.
through your esteemed office. Thank you, sir.
Whosoever is interested, you ask them to talk me directly or come at my office if possible, or you can
sir.
contact me through my mobile. So you share my
Sure, sir.
mobile
This
with
is
everyone.
Sure, sir. This is a great opportunity for the participants as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.